Hi everyone, beloved greetings from the Andalusia mountains again. I'm Henna Maria, and this is the first video of my new series, The Nature of Freedom. Now I believe that sometimes it's easier to truly comprehend what something is by examining what it is not. This is why I want to talk about democracy. Okay, what if I told you that every time I see freedom fighters demanding democracy, I cringe a little bit? Why would that be? Because democracy means domination. And it has absolutely nothing to do with true justice or freedom. Democracy is a system where the majority gets to rule over the minority. But what happens if the majority is immoral, immature, deceived, or, for whatever reason, have absolutely no interest in their rights or in anybody's freedom? This happens. This happens. We are living in a democracy right now. The hive mind is ruling. Although the majority's consent has been engineered through extremely advanced techniques of mind control, and their free will has been hijacked, or in esoteric terms, they are under the influence of black magic. This dystopian, tyrannical state of reality that we are experiencing right now is still a result of democracy. Or as a friend of mine says, democracy. The majority is going along with all of the restrictions. The majority is taking the poison shot. The majority is covering their vital airwaves day in and day out with a mask. The majority is accepting the segregation passport. Their obedience forms the general norm. And thus, all of the discrimination that we are experiencing is perceived to be just by them. They believe that it's absolutely justifiable. They are the majority, after all. And we are choosing to be in the minority that gets overruled. Do you see what I'm saying? Are you beginning to understand what democracy is? We have to be absolutely conscious of the solution that we are calling in to this time. All of us in the freedom movement agree that what is happening now is wrong, and the system that we are living in is inhumane and bad, and that we need to change it. But what we do not all agree on is what is the solution. How do we change this situation? What are we building? What are we heading towards? So if we keep chanting, "We want democracy! Bring back democracy!" we are only calling for a revolution, a revolving of the same exact system that we are living in right now. Do you want your rights to be denied by a deceived majority in the future also? I surely do not. And this is why I really want to expose the true meaning of democracy, so we can all agree that it's not the solution. You may be thinking, but what if we get rid of all these deceivers? Then democracy would work, right? Are you sure about that? Have you considered it from a spiritual perspective? This plane of being is a place where souls from different levels of maturity come to learn from one another. So among us are very young souls who are still completely infatuated with material possessions. Souls who need to first experience the material dimension of life, and therefore they are naturally not at all concerned with spiritual lessons. In fact, they cannot be concerned by them, as they are not yet able to comprehend them. This is not to say that they would be somehow less or worse. They are simply younger, so their perception is still very limited. So spiritually speaking, some of us are still developing a lot. Some of us are infantile. Some are adolescent. Some adults. And some of us are elders. So imagine a society where the infants got to rule over the elders just because they would make up the majority. Now, what would that create? What would that look like? I'm sure you can envision it perfectly. It would create total chaos and madness. A bit like what we are experiencing now. But what if, in the society, everyone was valued and respected, and their natural preferences and tendencies were acknowledged? What if what was expected from each of us was only what would be natural for us in that stage of our development, according to where we would be in our journey of spiritual growth? This is how the indigenous societies work. They have natural order based on maturity. However, this is not a hierarchical system or a system of dominance. Nobody is perceived to be on top of anyone else in their culture. For the elder can still learn from the baby. In their culture, everyone is a teacher. And everyone is also a student. So the problem of democracy is that we can have spiritually infantile and scared people controlling those who have already in their spiritual journey evolved beyond the fear that these infants suffer from. It's like having a bunch of kids who cannot swim, preventing adults who can swim from entering a swimming pool just because the kids themselves are terrified of the water and they're afraid of drowning. It simply makes no sense. This is literally what is going on when people who have absolutely no idea how to look after their health begin to dominate those who actually can and do very much look after their health, and force these people to follow their toxic protocols, which do cause illness, which they are not aware of because they're absolutely ignorant of how to look after their health. You see the absolute madness of it all. But of course, we must understand that the reason why people are scared to begin with is because they lack experience and knowledge. So this is the point that I really want to emphasize here. It's a metaphor, okay? Small children can be afraid of vacuum cleaners. But they're only afraid because they do not yet comprehend the purpose of the vacuum cleaner. And they are not used to its loud sound, so it appears terrifying for them. The same way, spiritually young people are afraid of death because they do not yet realize its nature or its purpose. And just like the small children may run around absolutely panicking when the vacuum cleaner is close, the spiritually young people may be acting in completely illogical and hysterical ways when they are being threatened with the idea of death. So I don't want a democracy. I want a society where the children, the teenagers, the adults, or the elders cannot rule over anybody. But where we all find our place in the community and we all work together, teach each other, and learn from one another. And naturally, the crawling baby will look up to the walking adult when they begin to understand the natural order of things and spiritual maturity. What we need is true justice and freedom. And it can only be generated through the practice and respect of natural law and everybody's natural rights. I will go deeper into this topic in my next videos of the series, The Nature of Freedom. Thanks for watching, guys. If you'd like to support my work, head over to my website, hennamaria.community/donate. And if you'd like to learn more about the principles for conscious activism, enroll on my online course, Foundations for Pioneering Peace Activism. And while you're visiting my website, don't forget to sign up for my newsletter and subscribe to my Telegram channel, Henna Maria 22, because I am in the process of permanently leaving Facebook and Instagram in the very near future. Okay, guys, until next time, stay strong. Lots of love and blessings.